I just pointed. I think
You can sit there. I don't sit there.
Hello, good evening. Hello. Can I have your attention, please? Hello.
I know. We don't care. It's okay.
Good evening, everyone. We're going to get started. Okay, we're going to get started. Thank you very much. Really appreciate everybody. Louder?
Could we maybe
How do you make it
get
louder?
a few, is the door open back there to get a few more chairs?
It should be, yeah.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for coming. It's great to see such a wonderful turnout at this very special event. We have a nice little program for you. We're going to start in just a minute. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Richard Goldberg. I'm Director of Education at AACA, and I think I know just about everybody in this room, but not everybody, almost everybody. So we've got a few welcoming remarks. I'm first going to introduce Sonny Schwartz, who's the COO, Chief Operating Officer of AACA, for some words of welcome.
Thank you, Richard.
So this is such an exciting event that we get to celebrate 20 years of this program that has had several names over the years. We now affectionately call the Next Steps Transitional English Program. And we changed the name of the program about 2 years ago when a funder approached us after this program had been funded by the state for 17 years. And they heard what a great program it was and what great results we had. And we didn't even go to them. They came to us and they said, we want to help you in expanding this program. And so they gave us a grant, a 3-year grant, to basically double the program in size. We now have 7 classes that we're offering as part of our intermediate ESL program. And now that I meet all of you, I realize why they came to us to ask to give us more money for this program, because you are the great results of this program. Just in talking to those of you that I met today, it's amazing what you've done with the little bit that we gave you. A little bit of English, and you've done amazing things. You're in college, graduated college, in job training, have amazing jobs. So it's so wonderful to meet all of you, and thank you for coming tonight to celebrate with us.
Thank you, Sonny. I just have a few introductory remarks. So we're going to keep this brief. We have a couple of student speakers, one from 1993 and one from last year. We might get another one actually from 1993 if she can get here from a previous commitment, but I think she said she wanted to come. So again, thank you all for coming.
Please come in. Come inside.
Okay.
Have a seat.
We have people here from the classes 20 years ago and people from last year, so I want to encourage all the current students to please introduce yourself to one or more of the graduates. There are some great stories to share. The people who finished 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, and last year have a lot to share with you. You're going to learn a lot about their struggles and their successes. So that's one of the reasons we wanted to have this event, so you could meet each other and talk to each other and learn from each other and build some relationships and maybe make a new friend or two. I'd like to just say a couple of things about the Next Steps Transitional English Program. When I came to AACA in December 1992, Next Step was really nothing more than an idea. There were not too many transitional English programs around at that time. In fact, I didn't know of any. There was no curriculum because we'd never done this before. And AACA and its collaborating partner, Boston Chinatown Neighborhood Center, which was then known as the Quincy School Community Council, between the two of us, we really didn't have a curriculum. We really didn't know where to start and what to do. And I think it would be fair to say that in those early days, we didn't quite know what we were doing, but somehow we pulled it off and made it happen. So the program was originally supposed to run for 3 years. When I was hired, I heard it was a 3-year program. The funding was for 3 years. And then it was, oops, it's only going to be 2 years. So I thought, I'll work here for 2 years, I'll build up my resume, and I'll work elsewhere, and that'll be the end of it. And little did I know, in my wildest dreams, I had no idea that 20 years later we'd still be going strong and having people in such great new jobs and finishing college and with bachelor's degrees and master's degrees. It's just unbelievable. So we're celebrating your success here tonight. There are a lot of people that I'm going to thank. I'm going to do that a little bit later. But we're going to have our student speakers now. The first speaker is Cindy Sihuan He, who immigrated from China and was in our very first class, our morning class, starting in January 1993. Like so many of our graduates, especially from those earlier days, she has significantly changed her life, and she has a wonderful story to share with you. And I'd like her to come up and speak to us now. So Cindy.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. I'm honored to be here with you today at the 20th anniversary of AACA. It was in 1993. I just came to this country, to this city. Fortunately, I found AACA and I became a student of Richard. Richard was my very first teacher in the United States. As you know, he is an excellent educator. He is very knowledgeable, patient, enthusiastic, and kind. I remember in summer of 1993, Richard just suggested I join a technical training program. It was in Fenway. At the time, I was still confused about Boston's public transportation. I have no idea how to get there and how to find the place. Richard knew my problem. He then spent half a day taking me to that place. Richard, I just wanted to let you know how much I appreciate everything you have done to help me at the beginning when I started my new life on this continent. You not only teach me the English language, you help me build the confidence. When I was a student in AACA, I worked as a waitress in a restaurant. After AACA, I went to Bunker Hill Community College. A year later, I transferred to UMass Boston, got a BS degree in computer science. I then worked as a software engineer in a big company which has several hundred thousands of global workforces. Meanwhile, I went to a night school and got a master's degree in software engineer from Brandeis University. I had worked in that company for about 10 years. Today, I run my own business in real estate investment and development. We buy land with old houses, build or rebuild them. We also help people buying and selling houses. Looking back, 20 years ago, my American dream started from AACA. Thank you, AACA. Thank you, Richard. Thank you.
Not much I can say to top that. We really appreciate that. Thanks so much. Okay, we have 2 more student speakers. The third one actually just walked in. We may get to her in a minute. So our next student speaker has a very different story. Haider Al-Hameri came from Iraq just a few years ago. He graduated Next Step in August of 2012, and he is now studying at Boston University's Bioscience Academy, a biotechnology certificate program offering college credit at BU. So Haider, could you come up, please?
Good evening, everyone. I'm glad to be here. I'm so happy to see all my classmates, all my teachers, great teachers here. I came to the United States in 2011, January 2011. So just like 6 days ago, I celebrate my 2nd year anniversary. And after 1 year, I was desperate. I couldn't find the job I dreamed of. I was working as a cashier but I was lucky to find AACA. I started with AACA, I don't know how to write a paragraph, but I had a great teachers here. Kristen, Ellen, Richard, and then Melanie, she's the greatest, I can't, like, I start with level 3 and then get to the next one, the level 4 is college preparation. And after, like, Melanie, she teaches us how to be successful in the college. And I was able to write an academic essay. That was a great thing I've ever done in my life, because I've never written an essay just to tell my feelings or anything I want. And then I get accepted in the program, Bioscience Academy, and it is certificate program in Boston University, two semester, 1 year certificate program. And I finished the first semester. Second semester, it is I get an internship at Boston Medical Center, one of the lab researches, cancer research, breast cancer research lab with Dr. Sher. And last weekend, I get good news. I get a job in Brigham's Women Hospital. It's going to start in June. And I've been here a great time with those wonderful people. AACA helped me a lot. I don't know what to say more. They, here, the teachers, they teach you not just English, it teach you how to live in America, to be successful in America. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Haider. Some time ago, someone mentioned to me that AACA, specifically the Next Step program, sent more people to college than any other program in Boston. So we asked our friends at the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education to validate that for us, and they did some research, and we really appreciate to get some data that, as you see in this poster, 330 of our graduates have enrolled in college since 1993. Not only is that the most of any community-based organization in Boston, it's the most of any community-based English program in the state of Massachusetts, and we're really proud of that. So that is just a great testimony to teachers and staff, and especially to students. So we're number one, and we just can't believe that we've had this much success. Okay, so we have a third student speaker. The next student speaker, she's not on the program, but I'm going to bring her up anyway, because this woman has done probably more for AACA than any of our graduates in the last 20 years. Mary Ling was in our first class. Cindy was in the first class in the morning. Mary was in the first class in the afternoon, both of which I taught. And I've seen Mary go from Bunker Hill Community College to Northeastern University to become a CPA, a practicing CPA, and now the owner of her own CPA firm. So she's been a great supporter and friend of AACA for as long as I've known her, for 20 years. So I want to bring Mary up to say a few words also. So Mary, could you come up here?
I would say I never did enough for AACA. I never done enough for AACA. I owe my life to AACA. 20 years ago, I came to AACA because a friend recommended. And they say, great teachers, great programs. And in 1993, I took Richard's class. I didn't know what it was, and I just wanted to improve my English, that's all. Never thought of going to college. I don't care. I said, I set my mind to become a waitress in a restaurant. Man, a waitress. Richard saw it, when he was correcting my work and looked at my work, and he found my potential. He said, Mary, you can go to college. I said, what, going to college? I don't have the money. And my writing is not good. And he said, I can send someone to you. Alan from Bunker Hill, from the financial aid office. Okay, and then I said, what about my English? He said, I can help you edit your papers if you need help. And then I thought about it. Finally, I took his advice, and then 2 months later, I passed the exam to Bunker Hill. Well, took me a long time. I went to school part-time, I worked full-time, and then from Bunker Hill to Northeastern. In 2000, I graduated from Northeastern, and then in 2003, I passed the CPA exam. And I've been working for a long time, 15 years. 15 years in public accounting, in accounting. I started my business in 2007, yes, 2007, 5 years ago. And been practicing accounting. So now I have done a lot of complicated tax returns. Let me tell you, I've saved a lot of people's taxes. It's true. You have to believe me. Go to my website and look at the client testimonials. I'm not making it up. And you can call them to verify. For example, a restaurant came to me. He said his CPA is old and she doesn't even use computers to do accounting. I picked it up and I looked at his last year's tax return. I found that, it's a restaurant. Isn't that a credit called FICA credit that can offset your taxes? They have over 200,000 tips. The law says if the employer pays FICA tax on those tips, you can take the credit back. The credit is 7.65% of the tips. So 7.65% of 200,000, that's how much? 17,000 a year, every year. I get them that credit every year, 17,000, okay? And I just did his taxes for the 2011 year. They are on extension. Okay, right now the credit has become to 18,000 a year. Another case, a cleaning company in Malden, the book is a mess. They have a accountant for another state. They do it remotely, and then I pick up the accounting and look at it. Oh my God, I was afraid, okay. What if, after I made those adjustments and corrections, what if it turns out that he has to pay a lot of taxes? Then I'll be fired right away, right? So then I said, who cares? Let him fire me. So I corrected the mistakes. It turned out I saved $16,000. Okay, $16,000. That's cleaning company. And then there's someone who is very rich. He has $5 million to give away. $5 million. This $5 million, I told him, well, okay, he said he wants to give this money away anyways, and let me know when is the right time. And I told him to give it away before December 31st, 2012. Why? Because in 2012, there was a $5 million estate exemption, okay? And they just changed the law. I just went to the seminar today. They changed the law to have you pay 40%. Okay, they changed the law that you have an exemption of 500,000 in this year, 2013. So in other words, if he were to give away that $5 million, then he has 500,000 exemption, Then the rest he had to pay the taxes about 40%. So he has to pay about $2 million in taxes. So there are more cases in my website. I hope you will look at it. And okay, I really appreciate your listening to me, and yeah, I think that's it for now. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mary. Anybody need their taxes done, talk to me. Just another couple of things about some former students. I just saw a gentleman walk in. He said he was coming. Tom Pham is standing back there, about halfway back in the room. Tom was in one of the first classes as well. It's great to see you. Hope you get to talk to this man. He's an inspiration to me, so we're so glad that he's here. Another student who couldn't be here sent me a very nice email this morning. I want to read it to you. I could not thank you enough. She's talking about AACA and the Next Step program. I could not thank you enough for all of your supports and guidance during my first steps in the U.S. Your devotion to help the immigrants like myself is truly an inspiration. I am so proud that I was one of your students. This is Tao Nguyen, who has been a middle school ESL and math teacher in the Quincy Public Schools for the last several years. She's in the class of 1994. We were going to have another speaker tonight. Bob Becker is the Senior Associate Commissioner of the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. He was the person in charge of the state adult basic education system at the time Next Step was born in 1993. Bob was planning to be here, but he called me yesterday and he said that his 17-year-old granddaughter was having heart surgery today. So obviously he has a lot to think about, and he's not going to be here, of course. And our thoughts go out to Bob and his family. We hope that his granddaughter will be okay. Next Step also receives significant funding from the Richard and Susan Smith Family Foundation. The foundation's executive director, Lynn Doblin, sent this note, which I will read. Warmest congratulations to all the Next Steps graduates in the room this evening for your remarkable perseverance and success. You are an inspiration to all of us here at the Smith Family Foundation. Congratulations also to AACA for 20 years of deep commitment and programming excellence. On behalf of Boston's immigrant community, we are honored to partner with you and to celebrate with you this evening, if in spirit, if not in person. All the best, Lynn Doblin, Executive Director, Richard and Susan Smith Family Foundation. So we really appreciate that. Just a few final thoughts. We want you to stay and eat more and mingle, but there are a lot of people I'd like to thank in the room tonight, and some who are not here, for their support and for the success of Next Step over the past 20 years. First, our deepest thanks to the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education for supporting us over the past 2 decades. In February of last year, we were not only refunded for our 4th 5-year funding cycle, but we received an increase in funding, which allowed us to offer a new class focusing on basic writing skills that will serve an additional 45 students per year. We are deeply grateful not only to Bob Bickerton, but also to Ann Serino, the current state ABE administrator, and to our past program specialists, Joan Lamar, Scott Kelly, and Ann Holbrook, as well as to Suzanne Special, who's here tonight, our current program specialist, and thank you for coming, Suzanne. Next, a big thank you to the Richard and Susan Smith Family Foundation, as I just mentioned, our other major funder. In 2010, the foundation gave AACA significant funds, which basically doubled the size of Next Step, allowing us to offer 2 years of retention services to students who go into college, training, or employment. Smith funding also makes it possible for us to offer the level 2-3 intensive class and the 4B class, level 4B, which prepares students for training or employment. Annie Chin-Louis, Annie's here tonight, who hired me in the fall of 1992, has been a big supporter of ours since moving to the United Way, which has provided funding for AACA over many years. Thanks again, Annie, for taking a leap of faith and hiring me, even though I had very little experience. Annie was part of the original team that planned and implemented the Next Step program, along with some staff from the Boston Chinatown Neighborhood Center, who I'll recognize in just a minute. I also want to say how much I appreciate the Next Step staff, former teachers, Christine Marini, Wendy Hagan, Janet Fisher, Alice Kellogg, and Melanie Ellsworth, and the current teachers, Kristen Fita, Alan Phillips, Judy Chow, Melanie Marcus, and Elena Kuyin. You work hard for our students every day, and thanks to Julian Burleson, who coordinated the program in 2010 and 2011. From day one, we've been blessed with great counselors and advisors, starting first with Agnes Lee, then Emily Damiano, and our 2 current advisors, Shinobu Ando and Oscar Wang. Thank you for all you do and what you have done for our students. We also appreciate our college partners, especially Bunker Hill Community College, which has been with us since day one in 1993. Bill Sakamoto, David Dow, and especially Deborah Barrett at the Assessment Center. We appreciate your help. Our other college partners include Roxbury Community College, Vice President of Academic Affairs Brenda Merck-Holmes and her staff, Cambridge College, Urban College of Boston, UMass Boston, and more recently Quincy College and Mass Bay Community College, where Yves Solomon Fernandez has been very, very helpful. Thanks to all of our community partners here in Chinatown, especially the current leadership of the Boston Chinatown Neighborhood Center, Elaine Eng, Russell Fenton, and Fred Bennett, as well as former Councilor Sherry Leung and former education directors Roger Hooper and Marianne Houston. All have been great supporters and very supportive of us, great colleagues over the last several years. I also want to recognize Su-Ping Zhang, who was, along with me, taught the first Next Step classes in 1993. Su-Ping was going to be here tonight, but she has the flu, like a lot of other people who sent their regrets, unfortunately. And a special thank you to the American Student Assistance Center, formerly known as Terry College Planning Center. We have some of their staff sitting right over here. ASA has supported us since 1995, when one of their senior advisors, Annie Zhang, was right here, began working at ACA 1 day a week, helping our students and other community members with federal financial aid and college applications. Thanks very much to Christy Pierce and Jay Horton for allowing Annie to continue to be a member of our team for so long. We really appreciate that. And I should add that since 1995, here's a number for you. Annie has helped 6,579 people in the office upstairs on the 5th floor over about 18 years, I think, right, Annie? So she's been just a great asset to our program. Please forgive me if I left anybody out. I'm sure I did. Whatever you have done for our program is deeply, deeply appreciated. So this is really the end of our program. We encourage you to stay a little while, get some more food, mingle. We're going to take a few pictures with some of the student speakers and others, so we'll be calling them up. But please enjoy the rest of the evening, and thank you so much for coming. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.